What's happening, people? Welcome back to the Sound Design channel. My name is Lar, and today we're going to cover a very classic, iconic sound in DIVA. So it's the track "Sorry I'm Late," and it's the brass sound that's from that sound. Obviously, one of the most iconic sounds in dance music. I play this track all the time in my sets, and people absolutely love it. It's just got a real nice, tone to it. So I'll try to recreate it, and I'll just show you my little recreation. Yeah, so that's the little demo. We're just going to be concentrating on the brass lead, obviously, as it's the most important one. And I want to just show you the MIDI before we dive into the synth, as it's really important. So the notes that are being played are in the F sharp minor scale. You can't see because my face is in the way, but we're in the F sharp minor scale. And all that's going on is we're starting on the A, and then we work down the scale, and then the same here, essentially just working down and playing a little up, down, up, down. But the important thing is to mess around with the velocity. If you have the velocity all the same on the sound, it's just going to sound the same and not really going to sound that organic or musical. So the velocity is making quite a bit of a difference to the sound. I'll just show you. So this is with the velocity where it should be. And then if we take the velocity and I just hold shift and then click up like this. So it's all just as aggressive as each other. They're all just the same, and we don't want that. We want the... So there's those last notes, you really notice it when they're a lot calmer, and it does make a bit of a difference to the sound. So let's dive into recreating the sound. I'm going to attempt to. I've just tried to do this, and it wasn't that similar. This sound is very finical. We're getting the exact parameters right. And in fact, I'm going to show you the DIVA patch first, and then we'll jump in. There's a lot of little things like little detuning here, slightly moving things off like sawtooths, and the envelope parameters are really, really key for this sound. So yeah, we're going to try and get close to it again. So let's see. One thing I'll do actually is I'll just duplicate this channel here. So we have the processing, as the processing does make a bit of a difference. This sound is a mid bass, so it doesn't have any sub frequencies. We don't want any sub frequencies in there. So you can see here we've EQ'd out, very harshly EQ'd out that lower sub frequencies. I noticed in the original that was the case. I'm not going to play it because I'll get in trouble, but yeah, you can see that there's not much sub frequencies. Even on the lower notes, they're not in there, so they've obviously been EQ'd out, because in the original the track has a nice kind of deep subby bass that comes in. But anyway, let's get to this recreation. So the way that I started was from a template, and I went to mini poly, or mini mono actually, and then what we want to do is just drop it down an octave straight away. And so what we have right now is just one oscillator that's being used, and with this oscillator I'm just going to move it so it's slightly off from a saw, just gives it a different tone. And then we'll have a listen to this. We'll just bring the cutoff down, bring it down a bit more, and then we want no sustain, and we'll change these to analog so we have more control over the release. And then what we want is this kind of plucky shape, but with a soft attack. It's not too important with this amp envelope, it's more important with this envelope too. And we're going to need to get the amounts exactly the same, so I'm going to have a look at them in a second. We'll just get this right. Bring the decay down here, and I think this was around 12. And yeah, this was around 30 something. Yeah, you can hear it's getting there. We now need to just involve the velocity. So the velocity is going to manipulate this envelope here. I didn't do it all the way up. I just had it so it was around here. Same with this one. So it's 50% being affected by velocity and 50% it's consistent. The other thing is just putting this into mono here. And then have the note priority as last, though it shouldn't really matter because the notes aren't overlapping. Okay, so it's almost there envelope wise, but we'll come back to this. Let's get some more voices in here. So we need a bit more of a lower body, so we'll involve another oscillator here, and we'll have this somewhere between a square and a pulse width. That's adding a bit more meat and body. And then we do need a little bit of a higher octave in here as well. I think I had this around here. I'll just check in a second. A bit more feedback. Yeah. Other thing that I did is I added 8 voices and stacked them by 4. So it's going to cycle through these voices here. You can see here. And we can make it so that they detune slightly. Just to add some dirt to it. And then the other thing that I did is I manipulated the shape of envelope 1 and oscillator 1 and oscillator 2 with velocity. So where is velocity? Where is it? There. So that means that when the velocity is increased or decreased, it's going to change the shape of the waveforms just a little bit. Just gives a bit more of a musicality to it, I think. Okay, cool. So let's now try to get the parameters exactly the same. So the cutoff we have around 50, and this is at 66. So let's go here. We were close. 50, yeah, something like that. This is 66. And now we need to get the envelopes exactly right. So the attack envelope is 16 and then the K is 38. These are the most important. And then this is 20 and 34. So 16, 38, 20, 34. So 16, around 16, come on, 38, and I forgot. I think this is, and this is 24. I need to look again. Yeah, this was 20 and 34. This one is the most important one, envelope 2. 20 and 34. Okay. 20 and 34. Yeah. Yeah, there we go. So the other thing that we can do is add some velocity to the envelope cutoff. Just a little bit. You'll notice as well there's a bit of reverb on the sound. It's because I've got it going through a return channel. So we're having the dry signal not being affected too much. And we still have that sense of space on there. But I did then also try it with a plate reverb on the sound itself. Not much, just a small amount. Because I noticed in the original it did have a lot of reverb on. But I didn't want it to be that much, just a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Around there, just like a small room. And there we go. That is essentially the sound. I don't think I did much else different. We'll just have a double check. And I'll go through the processing now as well. Yeah, I guess the velocity and things here are a little bit different. We got a bit of key tracking as well. But no glide or anything like that. All right, let's just change the key tracking a little bit. So the key tracking will be as it moves up and down the keyboard, it's going to affect the cutoff filter. Yeah, I think that's pretty close. Okay, cool. So let's have a look at the processing and see what's going on. So as I said before, there's a harsh EQ here, just cutting out any of the low frequencies. Without this, we just get rid of the EQ at the end as well. Sounds really nice because you're getting that kind of bass in there, but within this track, that's not what's there. That's not what's being used for the real subby bass. So it's just this kind of mid region. And then just another EQ to tidy up the end, but it's not doing too much because a lot of the frequencies aren't really in that area. We had this saturator here, and this is doing quite a lot. So it's adding like a lot of dirt and distortion. I just added a 9 dB of drive, but I made sure that I got rid of any of the bass within this. So if you leave this in, you get that kind of, because the bass frequencies are pushing the saturator first, and it just creates some distortion. We want to saturate the mid frequencies and the higher frequencies, not the bassy frequencies. And then you can just kind of EQ EQ where you want the saturation to apply, and I had 400 hertz and below. Added some width and some depth, and then I just had the dry wet at 50%, and then I adjusted for the output gain. So with the amount of volume that was being added with this drive, I adjusted for that, so it wasn't just adding volume, it was just adding saturation and beefiness. And then we have a glue compressor, which is just emphasizing the initial transient with this kind of loose attack and then a quick release. So it's going to grab the transients a bit more. And it also controls the volume a little bit. That way it feels a lot more condensed. And then we have the OTT, and not much, like 10% OTT. It's just so I can control like exactly what frequencies I wanted to emphasize a little bit more, and it just bring it out a little bit, but really not much. You can hear that it kind of takes away a little bit more of the bass frequencies and emphasizes a little bit more in the mids, because I loosened the compression here in the mids, and then I emphasized a little bit more in the lower frequencies. Cool. And then just another EQ to tidy up after the processing, doing a similar thing to the first EQ, but boosting a little bit here in the 900 hertz region, and then a limiter to just control the volume and also to compress it slightly. But really not much. You can see here there's only a few dB of gain reduction. The other thing is the return channel that I have, this reverb. Pretty important to get the space right with this sound. Like I was making the sound for like 2 hours or something like that, and I couldn't there was something about the space that it sat in, I just couldn't get it right. And then, so yeah, it was a bit of messing around with this reverb to get it to just feel right. So you can see here, I just got a little bit of EQing going on, and with the diffusion as well, there's some EQing going on, and it's just like a small decay and relatively big size, but no pre-delay or anything like that, and just remove the reflections. I didn't want it to sound like anything was kind of like delaying or anything like that. It's just more of putting the sound into a space. Yeah, and there's about right, and I just fed through this much. Could put more, to be fair. It's not too noticeable, but it definitely needs it. Without that, just adds to the reverb. Obviously we do have reverb directly on the sound as well, so it's already in a little bit of a space. But yeah, that is my remake. So I hope that was helpful for you guys. I enjoyed making this one. I'm going to try and cover some more like classic iconic sounds. If you guys have any that you know, put them in the comments and I'll try to cover them in the next video. So yeah, thank you very much for watching this one, guys. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.